Hey everybody, it's a Wednesday, which means that it's a new Geek Stuff off the cuff. Anyway, sorry. I'm editing, and I've edited several episodes so far, so my brain is slowly turning into mush. But that's okay, because I'm going to be able to do something brand new this week, which is I get a lot of tweets, I get a lot of emails, well, not necessarily emails, but a lot of social media outreaches about, hey, what are some books that you're reading? What are some graphic novels? What are some comics that you're digging right now? So I thought that, well, you know, I'm going to just give little shout-outs. I'm going to talk about, real quickly before every episode, hey, this is a book that I'm reading. If Tony wants to throw in one, I am totally down with that. But I want to at least give a shout-out starting this week. This is the first official... I don't even have a name for what this is going to be called. But Little Guardians. If you haven't read Little Guardians yet, you need to. Check out their website at littleguardianscomic.com. I want to make sure that that's correct. Little Guardians Comic, Guardians with an S, comic.com, and you'll be able to check out all of their artwork. It's a creative team of Ed Cho and Lee Sherilis, and these guys are doing an outstanding job, always producing new content, always staying on top of what's going on with their book and with their story. They've got, I think they're working on chapter 5, or they're in chapter 6, I forget which, but if you check out their website, it's actually released, I want to say on a... Lee's going to kill me because he's like, I've told you this like 1,000 times, and you're right. You're absolutely right. I don't know if it's on a daily or a weekly base, but they release a page, I want to say on a weekly base, a page a week. Also, they just hit their Patreon, and if you don't know what Patreon is, you should definitely check it out online. Patreon's a really cool thing. It's kind of like Kickstarter, but it's different because you're not donating just one lump sum of money at one time. You're actually donating a smaller amount every month to kind of help support what's going on. And now they've actually got a colorist. They're going to be getting their artwork done in a really cool colorist. I don't know the colorist's name. I'm sure if I probably did some work on finding out and did, the homework before I started recording, then I'd have more information for you. But if you want to still jump on there, they're at 27 patrons right now. They're always accepting more. I have no doubt that Lee and Ed would be totally cool if more people than just what they needed signed up for it. So anyway, Little Guardians, check them out. littleguardianscomic.com. You can order their books. You can read what's going on with them. This week, we're talking with Shawn Smith from the Indy PopCon. You guys have to keep one thing in your brains as you listen to this. This was recorded about a month and a half ago before Wizard World and the Indiana Comic Con. So he's going to talk a lot about the new website. The new website's already up at indypopcon.com. So you guys should go check it out now as you're listening to this episode. See you next week.
I'm a geek of many different flavors.
Yeah, but it is really cool though. It's like again, you're not a sports guy, so you don't know much about like fantasy football.
Well,
or, like,
I mean,
fantasy
I understand the concept of it.
Well, it's like the if I've got it correct, it's like you're essentially playing a softball league, but the managers are drafting the players based on their basic stats and things like that, what positions they play, things like that. And I guess it looked like there was a pretty competitive league last year, which is cool.
Yeah, it was. It eliminated that scenario where you have one team that just completely dominates the league.
Yeah. Because
they don't have the opportunity to recruit all their super player buddies.
Right.
Instead, everybody drafts a team that's pretty close.
It's awesome.
So,
if I knew anything about sports, then I'd be all for it. But
sounds really interesting.
These two sports fanatics here.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sports Talk Podcast.
That's right.
Well, we're shutting down.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I want to go wax
Can't be
the
part
car.
of
It's not that I don't like sports. It's I don't like watching sports. That's my problem. I love playing
Boring.
sports. I can play them all day long. I love playing soccer. That was my go-to with soccer. Shut up, Emily.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was hard. That was
He's not making any female friends today.
No.
His
Today.
wife is mad at him. Now you're going to be mad at him.
Yeah, and I don't know how this happened, but my wife, have you watched the show Rain? It's on
No.
Netflix, and it's probably somewhere else as well. But it's about like Queen Mary and the whole Nostradamus whole. Anyway,
Wow.
So yeah, that's how in depth I am.
Rain,
into the show.
REIGN.
Oh, yeah, I went RAIN.
Right. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
the show about? Precipitation? I could not care less. Really.
No, it's about Rainn Wilson and his
Ooh.
career. So
Go on.
No, anyway, the first episode, I was out of it like halfway through the first episode. I know characters I don't like. I'm just like, no, I'm done with it. So anyway, so she sent me a text early and she said, hey, are you okay with me watching episode 2? And I said, yeah, it's fine. And then she texts Emily as they're driving over here and she's like, have you watched Rain? And Emily goes, no. And then my wife responds with, well, Jared doesn't care for it, but I want to make sure I quote this right. What did she say?
I'm sorry. I can't. That's the female code. I can't break it.
You can break the
You
female
told us
code.
like
said-
5 minutes ago in the other
but I
room.
didn't tell all the thousands of listeners.
Oh, wow.
All the tens
Are
of
we
listeners.
recording right now?
Yeah, oh yeah, we
We're
started
always
when you first.
recording.
Yeah,
No.
We're recording all the
Constantly recording our
time.
life.
She said, "Quote: Jared doesn't care for it, but that doesn't really mean anything."
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Ding.
yeah, right there. So happy Valentine's
Love
Day
you, Maggie. Sorry.
to me. Yeah. So, oh well. Well, welcome, Shawn.
Thank you.
So if you're just now tuning in, you should know who we're talking to. Talking to Shawn Smith.
Yep.
From the Indy PopCon. And we also brought back in Emily, who is Tony's wife. And we got some response from some listeners, and they wanted to have her come back. And I said no. And then we found out that Shawn was coming on, and I was like, yes, let's bring her back, because Emily and Tony both went to Indy PopCon last year. I did not go. I was not. I know.
This
I
interview
know.
is over.
I gotta go. See ya.
Gotta go. I was not there last year, but I know both of them went, so I thought it'd be good to have, just regular attendees kind of perspective and thought process and all that good stuff. So I don't know who wants to kind of lead or how we want to go about doing this. So
we're happy to dive in, but before we do, Shawn, I don't know if you want to speak to people who may not be as familiar as we are with the concept of PopCon and how it's going and what's going on this year. If you want to give us a brief overview, I think that's a cool place to start.
Sure. I mean, I'll start where I typically do start with people that haven't heard of PopCon and what is PopCon, and what we have tried to accomplish is we really do want to be a con that celebrates pop culture in all of its aspects. Whenever you go to cons, almost all of them have a very specific focus.
Yeah.
So if you go to a Comic Con, you're going there because you like comic books. If you go to a Gen Con, it's board gaming. And what we found is that, we feel like there's a lot of people out there that just have a lot of very, varied kind of geekdoms and things that they like, and we wanted to be a con that really celebrates that. So whenever you go, you can get a little bit of comic books, you can get a little bit of video games, you get a little bit of podcasting, and what we want people to do is go there for their passions and then discover their next passion at PopCon.
Yeah.
And through this process, we've kind of come to the realization that we're really about independent creators, because we're in an era that the power is returning to the artist and the creator. 20 years ago, to work in a geeky industry, you had to get discovered.
Yeah.
You had to be lucky enough or know the right person or have the right connection or have enough money to get that attention. And today, you just go and put it on the internet. Create
true.
a brand,
Yep.
throw your passion, throw everything about your soul into it, and you can actually make that a career. And that's something that is really special to us. And I think that it's something that we really want to grow this year.
Very cool. Yeah. I know that the fan base through the show last year, and then obviously through waiting for this year's show, it seems like a very passionate group, which is cool. I'm a member, as are many other people, of the PopCon groups on Facebook and the feedback groups and things like that, and it just seems like they're all very excited already. Before the date was even locked in, they're just like, which I think was half the reason they were excited, was to find out when it was. But they all seemed just very excited to just be there again in that kind of environment, which is very cool. So
yeah, we were really excited. I mean, we did post-show surveys, and we had 1,000 responses.
Sure.
And that was something that stood out to us, that all of the attendees reported that overall it was a good experience. Sure, we had first-year issues. There were some logistical things we could have done better, especially for you podcasters. Anybody that's listening that has a podcast, I know. The voice of God over the stage that podcasters were recording, not a good idea. We're fixing that for this year. But the fans in general, they love the concept. They love what we were doing, and they're embracing it.
Cool. Very cool.
Totally.
I wasn't there. Now I'm all intrigued about what this.
Why weren't you there?
I think
Yeah.
it was Johnny,
I
right?
know.
Johnny, the MC, I believe, was sometimes when he spoke or if there was announcements, it came over everywhere, and podcasters were doing live recordings. And sometimes that would not jive.
We came up with the idea of having a podcast stage in the hall because whenever you're recording a podcast, I thought it would be really cool to have some ambient noise, some applause, and maybe some fan interaction. Try to make it more of a live show than like a recording that, we're at PopCon locked in a closet that has the word janitor on the front of the door. So we wanted to put
Pretty
podcasters
close to
out
where
there.
we're at right now, actually.
Not too far off.
The reason I mentioned it.
Oh.
But
Okay, it's the truth. I can take the truth. It's all right.
the voice of God, quote unquote, was actually Carl. So
Carl.
if you see Carl, he's the one that ruined all of the podcasts.
Carl.
Oh, wow.
It's his fault.
But you're not throwing anybody under the bus. At least,
No, I am not throwing Carl under the bus.
No.
Is that a CARL?
If you want to spell that out real
I
quick,
mean,
the social security number, make sure we know exactly. So what are the changes that can you talk about what you're doing a little bit different? Maybe focusing specifically on podcasting for this year that's coming up?
Yeah, we can definitely talk about some of the things, where we got kind of pushed behind because we had some issues with trying to switch the dates, so we're a little behind where we should be as far as just planning. So a lot of things are in the works, but with podcasting specifically, one of our goals is to move the live podcast stage actually out into the hallway. So we want to have them actually be right next to registration where all the action is so that we can make sure that there's a good crowd, a good energy, and ultimately, we want people to be welcomed into the con by these awesome people on stage talking about the show. And as part of that, we're going to try and improve the way that we line up guests for those podcasts. We had some success last year lining up some of our celebrities to actually appear on the podcast, which was a great opportunity for the podcasters that did happen for. But there were a couple that we could not line up their guests in time, and so that process ended up being a little jumbled. So this year, if you're on stage, we're going to try and make sure that you've got somebody to interview that's going to be, an interesting part of the show. And then another thing that we're really looking at and trying to figure out a good way to do is if you come to the show as a podcaster, YouTube, game developer, independent comic artist, you're primarily there to try to find fans, obviously. But because we're catering to the independent artists, we also want to give them opportunities to network and grow themselves.
Sure.
So we're looking to bring out some personalities, professionals from within the various industries, and we're thinking about trying to have either some kind of pre-show programming or some sort of opportunity for, if you're a podcaster, you're spending most of your time in your booth, but right after the show ends, here's an hour-long presentation from somebody that you can learn from. So we're trying to get some more educational opportunities available to the independent artists who do come to the show.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I might have to actually go this time.
Oh,
I didn't know
stepping
about it last
up.
time. No, you asked me earlier. Whoa. You said why wasn't I there last year? And I honestly think I was gone. I was doing events because I remember you talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason I was like, I wish I could go, but I think I had an event that Friday and that Saturday. So the only day that I would have been able to go was Sunday, but that was like the one day that I had off of the entire weekend. So unfortunately, sleep and my children trumped PopCon. And Shawn's looking
cannot
at me
forgive
like,
you for that.
It sounds like a pretty weak excuse over here.
Priorities. What are you doing?
I know. I'm a horrible, horrible person. If you look on the website, it looks like it's being updated regularly. You got some new stuff coming up. You're talking a little bit about podcasts, which is outstanding. I kind of want to get Emily's feel to get away from Tony and to get away from you. What are some things that you liked last year? Was there anything that stood out that you really enjoyed? Because what I'm interested in, I want to see if this like spurs anything from Shawn to say, oh yeah, we heard that, and we're going to be improving on it, or we're going to be changing something, or whatever else. But
you're dumb. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Nobody else liked that except for you. So, what was there anything that stood out last year that you really enjoyed?
I enjoyed the whole process. Like you said earlier, it's, a wide range of interests and a wide range of geekeries, if you will. And I really appreciated being able to go anywhere within the con and find something that I was interested in and that I liked. And of course, our highlight of the con was meeting Tony's personal hero, Sylvester McCoy. And he was super
oh my God,
excited.
Here we go again. Hear this story every other week.
Which was pretty cool. And I just thought the whole feel of the con was more laid back than some. Sometimes when we go to Gen Con and things like that, it's very intense and the energy is very intense. And, I didn't feel that way. I felt that it was more laid back. And even, some of the celebrity guests were out walking the floor and talking to people, and everybody was just being very, very chill. And everybody was really just there to enjoy each other. And I don't know. I like the whole thing. I don't think I can find one thing that I didn't like. So,
okay.
Was that specific enough?
Well, yeah. Again, this is like
just an overview.
I am the persona of the person that did not go. So I'm learning about what Indy PopCon is from everybody that's here. So as you speak, you're speaking to the people that have never met possibly, because last year was the first year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Last year was first year. So I guess I've missed 100% of the Indy PopCons.
You sure have.
That's a horrible thing for me to realize right now.
Well, you have a chance to go to 50% if you make it this year,
Yep.
so you're improving those margins dramatically.
It's very, very true. I'm just going to be blunt. Do you guys have some guests coming up? Do you guys know who's coming around the corner?
We do. Unfortunately, I can't tell you yet.
Oh, boy.
We've got verbal confirmations, but as we learned as a kind of a first-year mistake, you always make sure that it's on contract before you announce it. we hit that snag a couple times. But
it's all good.
But yeah, things are progressing very well. Right now, you're actually looking at our old website, and we're developing a brand new one that we hope to debut sometime next week. So with that website is going to come a little bit of a friendlier navigation that we hope caters to the first-time congoer. We did find that one of our goals was to make it accessible. I love the comments about Gen Con feeling a little intimidating sometimes, and that's nothing against Gen Con. It's just that Gen Con is very focused, and whenever you go there, you're surrounded by people who live, breathe, and eat board games. And I'm a huge geek. I mean, I love everything, especially video gaming, but sometimes I go there too and I'm like, well, this is a lot of board games. So that's the spirit that we tried to capture, and what we found is that a lot of people showed up at the con not knowing what to do or expect. So we'll be trying to cater some of our website marketing and promotions to show people, okay, these are some, you get your ticket, you come in, here's some things you can do. You can engage in some awesome panels, or you can go and get art commissioned from some artists that you think are really cool, or, come check out these podcasts that are playing live on stage and catch a show after the main event finishes. So we're going to try to improve some of that education for that first-time congoer.
I never thought about that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm kind of digging the fact that I've never thought about the cons having their personalities, so to speak, and you were mentioning it earlier about Gen Con, you got that gaming focus, and Comic Con you have more of a comic book focus. That you're not really, you're kind of taking a little bit of each different one is what it kind of feels like, but bringing it back to the creator, to whether it's a big movie star like your doctor, or television star, whatever you want to call it, or somebody just small-time local artist, podcaster, or whatever else, that is, I guess that would be your personality, is where you're looking for the origination of where the content's coming from, which I dug. I think it's pretty cool. So
It's like a con for the everyday nerd.
A con
I love
for
that.
the everyday nerd. Trademark.
I'm stealing that.
Nope.
Nope.
Trademark.
Take it.
I just took it.
You can put it on a T-shirt, and then give me half of resale.
I will give you $1 for that trademark right now. Final offer.
Cash, because
Check.
He'll wire it to you.
Have your people call my people.
all right.
Well, man, I feel bad because you like sports. Because I really,
Well,
That's
wow.
strange.
What a segue.
Sports people are nerds too.
I
They
feel
just,
bad because
they-
you're a sloth. I don't understand.
I know. I don't know. It's just, well, with you, and then there's been a couple other convention guys that we've talked to that have been big sports fans, and I'm like, dang it, because I don't have anything to talk to you about. Like, I'm like,
Andrew Luck is a
"Oh."
huge Settlers of Catan nerd.
Is he really?
He
He
is.
seems like that. The
Oh.
Stanford guy. He seems like he could be
Yeah.
right up that alley.
Oh, that is documented. He's on record as being a huge Settlers of Catan nerd.
That's really funny.
What is your go-to game?
I'm more of a video gamer myself.
Okay.
I tend to hop around games, but if you're looking at what I'm wearing right now, I've got a Destiny
Yes.
hoodie,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's been my most recent obsession.
How's it going?
It's awesome. I need the new DLC,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those things that you see exactly what they went for. They shot for the moon. They kind of hit an asteroid that was sitting right in front of the moon, but they're so close. They're so close.
That's cool. That's very cool. That's one of the things that I thought was cool about PopCon, and I was sad last year that I didn't get a chance to get into it too much. Was the gaming room? Was that kind of, there was a separate dedicated room for gaming with tables to play games and video stations and things like that. And unfortunately, that's where once I did the registration, I went into the main room and was just, brain exploded, and then I never went anywhere else because I was taking it all in there, and I had to hear, panels and things like that. But it seemed like I imagine that was fairly well responded to. Is that coming back again this year?
Yes, that was actually one of our bigger errors, was just that we kind of tucked the gaming back in that registration hall, and so we're going to put that more on the forefront so that people can see it better, so that it becomes more a part of the convention as opposed to something that people forgot about, because that did happen.
Yeah.
The people that went there loved it. We want to do more tournaments, we want to do more interactive stuff, but we ended up kind of hiding it because we wanted to get that 24/7 game all night vibe,
Yeah.
and it just ended up not working where it was. So that's
Sure.
one thing that we're fixing.
Well, I think with the gaming, and we spoke briefly about this in a previous podcast with another convention fella, is that I think
Generic convention
yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
We don't want to mention names because we want to keep this focused on Indie PopCon and on Shawn.
Well, yeah.
so-
Well. What I was the point I was trying to make is that I think the more that a convention can do to make it unique and kind of separate itself from other conventions, and certainly PopCon in its nature is already kind of separated in a very positive way, I think. But like we talked about, things like a little more. I think fans who go to these shows, especially these kind of general or all ages or all-encompassing nerds, if you will. I don't know what a con for every nerd or whatever.
I love
forget
Emily's
what you
face
said,
as
so.
Tony was trying to explain that. She's
I
like,
know.
"What are you trying
I
to
get
say?"
that
Just
look
get
a lot
there.
at
Come
home,
on, get
yeah.
there.
I get that you're an idiot, spit it out look. But,
Oh, no. And it was a con for the everyday nerd.
okay, thank you.
Trademark.
Yeah, TM. No, but doing things to let the average fan, convention goer, interact with celebrities who is a primary draw for who they came to see. I would think if someone could play a game of Catan with a celebrity, or have like an on stage, like a trivia challenge where two celebrities were like the team captains, like a Family Feud style, and the rest of their family were guests,
Fans.
whether they were pulled at random or whether it was part of a VIP package or something like that. I think fun things like that are to me a huge draw, and I would think that the other fans will probably respond to that well too. Are there any, as you guys have been progressing, any thoughts on doing something a little more interactive with that, or any special things going on at PopCon this year that you've kind of nailed down yet?
Yeah, actually, the fact that our show was so interactive was a huge positive selling point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We got that feedback. People love the Geek Museum. They love the sword fighting that was going on in the main stage room, the cosplay lounge, and so we are expanding on that because sometimes cons can feel like they're a little too impersonal, and we don't ever want to feel like that. You're not paying a ticket price so that you can go to a mall.
Right.
You're going there so that you can learn and participate and do geeky things. And one thing I can tell you that we're working at the logistics of is a Let's Play stage, which is going to be a stage that will just be there so that people can go up and play video games in front of live audiences. So we'll set up some events where some of our YouTube guests and our gaming personalities will demo some of the games that they're working on, and there may be some opportunities where you could be pulled up on stage to play video games with a celebrity.
Yeah.
So we want to definitely capture some of that interactive element for sure.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed even the quote-unquote panels last year. I mean, my favorite one, I think, was going to listen to Joel Hodgson of Mystery Science Theater 3000 fame speak, because it was less, I expected a, usual panel where he sits up there and kind of tells you his things, and the entire time he was showing clips and talking about, how things, and then it culminated, and he did a live riffing with Paul and Storm, I believe, which was a comedy musical duo.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I mean, it wasn't necessarily interactive. I mean, he did ask some questions from the audience, but it just had that different level of entertainment value, I guess. So yeah, it was very cool stuff. So
yeah, that's what we were looking for. I mean, we don't want PopCon to feel like an experience you've had before, unless it was another PopCon.
Cool. Yeah.
And there's only been one.
And so far we'll know absolutely if you've had that experience.
That's outstanding.
Is there just a quick sidebar? We don't have to spend too much time on it. There's a show in Evansville that has a similar name, but you guys are not related, or
not related.
That's Indy Poop Con. That's the sanitation,
completely different topic.
Sanitation convention that
still
happens
very
down
loyal
there.
fans, though, I bet.
Yeah, they showed up a couple months after we announced, and we haven't had that discussion with them, but they're in Evansville, and I believe they're in March, maybe April. So that's all we know about them.
But it's the same name.
They have an exclamation point in between Pop and Con, and that's the differentiator.
Indie Pop exclamation con.
We actually had a celebrity that that said, "Hey, can't wait to see you at your show," and I didn't correct him. I mean, hey, I'll take the publicity.
See you there.
Wow.
P.S. We changed our date. Come in June.
I think that illustrates an interesting problem, in air quotes, that we're kind of in the middle of a con bubble.
Sure.
It's people have seen that cons are definitely a profitable business model, and so they're popping up all over the place. And even here in Indianapolis, we've seen that happen. 2 years ago, it was Gen Con. Last year, it was Indiana Comic Con, us, Gen Con, and Awesome Con.
Right.
This year, Wizard World is coming in next weekend, or this coming weekend. So you're kind of seeing this bubble that is emerging, and it's going to burst. And that's why it's so important for the fans to make sure that they do their research, look at the cons, and make sure that you're choosing the ones that you want to go to and that are showing some passion for this, because there are definitely people that are out there just doing this to try to make a buck, and you can tell when that happens.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are passionate about what they're doing, about the product they're trying to put out there, and hopefully when this all settles, those are the ones that remain.
Sure.
But it's up to the fan to ultimately make that decision.
How did you get into it? How did you come up? Because, I mean, it's your baby. What spearheaded this whole thought process of, hey, I want to do this different approach to a convention?
Well, actually, it's not my baby. I walked into a meeting where people were talking about it, and I just kind of sat down.
And then you just yelled out trademark and then ran out?
Hey, it works.
Oh, I know.
No, actually, there's a group of about 7 or 8 of us that we all come from different backgrounds. Me personally, I work for comicspriceguide.com, which is a comic book not grading service, but they provide pricing for comic books. So
heck yeah.
You find a random Spider-Man number 300, and you can go look on the website and see that that's worth not very much.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But in, we all had these different backgrounds, and we had always thought of doing a convention, and finally just got to the point of, let's find out if there's a date available. There was. And then let's find out if we can pull together the resources to actually make this happen. We could. And then we started having those conversations of, what is this convention? And, the guys that love comic books were like, well, it's a comic book convention. And then the guys that loved gaming were like, no, it's a gaming convention. And then I'm like, well, what about podcasts? What about YouTube? There's nobody doing that. And through these conversations and arguments, frankly, we kind of just figured out that why don't we just do it all? It's all related. It's not a far leap to go from being a video game fan to a board game fan to a podcast fan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not hard to get people into these things because they're fun.
Absolutely.
So if we can bring people in for the passions that they love and get them to be open-minded enough to check new things out, I think that we've got something.
It's almost like it's like an amalgamation, if you will. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Shut up, Tony. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited about going. It's June 26th, 27th, 28th?
Correct. Last week of June.
Last week of June, 26th, 27th, 28th at the Indianapolis Convention Center. This is the part of the show. This is something that we just started doing. But you got to give us one really cool thing about what's going to happen this year that nobody else knows about. And I'm starting this right now to put you on the spot.
Whoa!
I know.
When is this podcast coming out?
This is gonna be released next Wednesday. I can do it. Well,
too soon.
I can hold it off then.
We can push it.
Yeah, we can push it real good.
We can push it for the spoiler room.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can release this whenever it needs to be released. We'll give you some thinking music, Tony. Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
God.
No more thinking music.
Are you ready?
No.
Because I've got more.
Oh, no. No, I think that was enough.
The convention is moving. I'll tell you that.
So you're physically picking up the entire convention center and
you're moving
it
closer to Georgia Street.
Oh.
So we're not going to be, because last year we were kind of buried in the middle. And so there was a lot of confusion because people had to wander either through a group of graduating students or a group of Methodists. And in either case, it was hilarious.
I remember going to and they all met at the food court, and it was really weird. Really weird.
Oh, it made for great conventions and graduations.
Yeah. There's the cosplayers, and it was like,
yes.
There's the cosplayers.
There's Doctor Who.
Like there's a Methodist with her Bible passing a slave Leia.
It was good.
It made for some interesting stares for sure. But we will be officially on Georgia Street, and we hope to do a lot more interaction with that space now, because we were kind of limited because we were stuck over there in the corner, and there's certain things you can't do whenever you have to take other conventions into consideration. But whenever you're locked in the corner, you kind of get a little more free play.
Very cool.
That is cool.
Georgia's going to be good. You can do a lot on Georgia Street downtown, and in the middle of June, you'll have hopefully some good weather. So, I like that. I'm excited.
He's good.
He likes that.
I do like that. I'm excited about it.
Maybe he'll actually go this year.
Well, I don't know. I've got to take the dog out for a walk. I got to get a dog, and then I'm probably going to take him out all weekend long.
You don't want a dog. That's too close to sports. You have to walk him and stuff. You're not going to be into that.
I'll get a Tamagotchi then, and I'll take care of that.
Don't leave it out in the rain.
You could probably get a
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi. You could probably get one at PopCon, an original.
Oh,
actually, you probably could.
He's like, yeah, there's a booth set up just for Tamagotchis.
Those things are worth some money now. If you got
Are they really?
Condition. Hey, everything old is new again eventually.
Oh my gosh.
The Beanie Babies.
Did you have a Tamagotchi?
No,
I
Beanie
did.
Babies are never
I
coming
guess
back.
Beanie Babies are probably past their prime.
All I wanted was a Tamagotchi, and so my parents got me one. And like day 2, I left it out in the rain, and I came back, and my little Tamagotchi was like dead, like legitimately had like X's for eyes, dead. And my parents wouldn't buy me another one. It was horrible and traumatizing.
Oh wow! I never had a Tamagotchi.
I did.
Did you have one?
Yeah.
Did you have one?
Oh yeah, I had several.
Really? Am I the only one in this world that did not have a Tamagotchi?
Didn't go to PopCon. Didn't have a Tamagotchi.
There's a theme going
You're
on here.
You're a pretty sad human being.
I am.
Let's be honest with
Geek
ourselves.
podcast host ever.
Yeah, pretty much. It's horrible. Well, now I got to buy a Tamagotchi. That's my goal. Mr. Tamagotchi, if you're listening to this podcast, send me a Tamagotchi. Are they still called Tamagotchis?
I highly doubt they're still being made.
You could probably buy one off eBay. Mr. eBay.
Mr.
If
eBay.
It's going to cost you. You're going to have to get a generic. You're going to have to get a generic Tamagotchi or whatever. I mean, you're going to have to get. There's no way you're going to be able to afford it.
My digital
like a Kim
pet.
Kardashian
It doesn't sound any less expensive.
There's probably
honestly.
an app now. There's an app.
Yeah,
Tamaguchi?
Tommy Gucci.
Tommy Gucci.
That sounds like
It's a really expensive
a
That's
one.
what I'm
name.
saying. It's probably not less any cheap. So.
Well, now Tamagotchis would be free, but you have to pay $1.99 per every time you feed them. So.
Yeah, or there's a monthly subscription of
There's an
$5,
ongoing
and you
price.
can
Funny.
unlimited. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited about June 26th, 27th, 28th. Tony, anything else you want to throw out there, my friend?
I hope that out of all I saw a lot of cool pictures of cosplayers and people with celebrities and things like that. The one thing I think I saw the picture of the most from last year that I hope that comes back this year is the sign that said, "Do not take a picture of this sign."
yeah.
I saw that thing everywhere. So just little things like that are what kind of set it apart for me. That kind of theme. So no, it was a blast last year. Looking forward to it again this year. So.
I can, in that vein, I can promise you that last year our VIP lounge was a little lacking, and there will be something extremely special in the VIP lounge that only the VIP participants will get to see and participate in.
Hodor.
Real
Wow.
life Tamagotchis.
Hodor.
Hodor?
Nothing but Hodor.
Why?
No.
I will give you no clues, but I will say that we are going to make up for the lack of things to see and do in the VIP lounge.
For last year's
Cool.
moderately important people, it's now very important people.
MIPS.
The MIPS, yeah.
Derogatory.
Well, now I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. Emily, anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I'm excited. It sounds like it's going to be fun. I can't wait to go back.
Absolutely. Sean, anything else you want to throw out before we wrap up for tonight?
Right now, if you go and look at the website, well, depending on when this comes out, we're still very early in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be working extremely hard to continue to improve this show. We got a little bit of a late start, but we're catching up really quick. So if you take a look at it and you don't quite see what you're looking for, check back because we'll get it up there very soon.
Yeah. By the time this comes out and everybody's listening to it, hopefully there'll be a new website out with some more information and lots of photos of things that supposedly weren't supposed to have their picture taken, which is kind of exciting. So
Yeah.
it's always nice to break the rules every once in a while.
We got featured on BuzzFeed for that news,
really funny.
for that sign.
That's really
Really?
funny.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It was a BuzzFeed article. You know how they do, top 20 rule breakers or whatever. And there's some gal just standing next to the sign that says, "Do not take a picture of this sign."
And she's like, okay.
Yeah. BuzzFeed decided, well, this seems like we can make a buck off this.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a fan of games, if you're a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of anything that is creative in any sense, podcasts, YouTube, anything and everything, if you're a Methodist, I guess you can come on out too. Or if you,
Debatable.
well, no, you don't have to.
It's a
They
different
might like
weekend.
comic books,
It's a different weekend.
It
They're
is-
going
it
to
is
have the
different
weekend
weekend.
free. It's not the same
but
weekend.
they can still come out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have it free. There's no excuse for them not to be there now.
Yeah.
So.
So your attendance should triple because the date has changed. Come on out to the Indie PopCon 2015, June 26th, 27th, 28th. Sean, thank you so much for coming out and speaking with us. Emily, thank you once again for joining us around the fake wooden table.
My pleasure.
Tony, thank you, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
I like the drawn out, but
Thank you. I've been working on it.
I bet you have. All right.